Every second makes a difference. Every step leads to a new path. Every risk I take makes a big impact. And everyone I meet, there's always a story I can share. I started off when I was a kid with a dream. As a kid, I always loved cars and motorcycles, and I could ride when I was 6, 7, and I could drive when I was about 8 years. And I was very good in studies in school. But when I was 14, I saw a movie that inspired me, and it was a movie about a racing rider, a Hollywood movie, Silver Dream Machine. And from the day I saw that, I thought, what am I doing here? This is something real. It's crazy and it's really risky, but then also it's how you win things in life. And I dreamt and I thought I'm going to become a world champion in motorcycle racing. So I didn't know what to do, how to start it, but the only thing I had was in mind was that I'm going to do it. So when I was 16, I did my first race in a Honda CB50 which my grandmother bought for me, and I won my first race when I was 16. And then my father, he had no other option because my sisters were giving pressure for him to buy me a racing motorcycle. So he bought me one of the best motorcycles in Sri Lanka, which was a TZ350. And when I was 16, I did the first professional racing on this 350 with all the top motorcyclists, racing riders at that time in Sri Lanka, and finished third in my first race in Kurunegala road race. And the second race I had a big crash, and my father said, no, you're not going to race anymore. But at the same time, when I took that motorcycle for the first race, I had no experience in racing, but my mind, my heart always was telling me that I can do it, and I had a lot of faith in me and that I can do it. So that was my first experience in crossing the barriers and getting out of comfort zones. So that was my start. And then in 1983, I saw in a newspaper that Madras Grand Prix was going to happen, and they were calling for riders from Sri Lanka. So I applied to go to India, but then the Sri Lankan officers didn't allow me. Then I wrote to the Madras Motorsports Club and I asked them, I really want to join this, how can I join, because officially they have not allowed me. So then they said, you can come as a privateer. So I knew my father wouldn't allow it, but I couldn't wait without doing it. So I got two of my friends. I took my motorcycle to Talaimana in the train, and then we got a ferry ride to Rameshwaram, and we did a road trip to Madras. And in Madras I couldn't do the first race because the Sri Lankan officers said, no, you cannot do it because you came as a privateer. So they were obstacles, but I never gave up. And then I was able to go and do the Calcutta Grand Prix. So we took another train from Madras to Calcutta because I hardly had any money. I sold my watch and collected money, and we went there and we did the race, and we finished 6th out of all the international riders around the world. And then I met this Japanese gentleman who came to me and said, why are you racing with this old bike? It's about 10 years old compared to our bikes. I said, I don't care, I have time, and this is my start. I just want to get experience and see how international racing is. He was really friendly to me. So he said, how are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to become a world champion. I said, better than you. So he laughed, he smiled, but I think he never thought that I'm going to do it. But I think he also liked me because being crazy. And then he asked me, how are you going to do it? I said, I'm going to either go to Europe or to the States where I knew, and I said, I'm going to race there and become a world champion. He said, no, you should come to Japan. That's the best place for you. I said, really? And then he gave me his address. And when I went back to Sri Lanka, I told my father I want to go to Japan. He said, no, you're not going to race and you're not going to Japan. And he was really angry me going to India without telling him. So anyway, in 1983 until 85, I said, I want to go. He always said no. Then one fine day I thought, no, I'm going to do this. And then I spoke to one of my friends. I said, can you buy my car? But you cannot tell my father. And then I sold my car for 10,000 rupees at that time and bought a one-way ticket which was 7,000 rupees. And I had 3,000 rupees plus another 1,000 rupees which was 40,000 in at that time. And I took off. And then I went to Japan, didn't know anyone. And I was trying to find this Japanese person but couldn't find him. So I lived in a van for a few months, did few odd jobs, and I was like from hero to zero because like I've never washed plates, I've never washed clothes, I had all the comfort at home, and then I lost everything, but then I don't think I lost everything. I was just going through it to fulfill my dream and to gain things, So I didn't feel sad, I didn't feel bad, I didn't feel lonely, so I used to live in this van, had a meal a day. Yeah, I used to work in a motorcycle yard, and I started that way, and then later I got a small apartment, size of a bed, and then then I kept going, because every day what was telling me was, when can I ride in Japan, when I can win, when can I become a champion. That was all in my mind. And then I'm a guy that I don't plan things, because if you plan things you don't get to do things, So I start things and then I just go on with it, ride on it, and I want to make it happen, That was the difference. So then 2 years later I bought my first bike, started racing bikes for 3 years, but then I used to have a lot of accidents because the competition level was very high. But then I started racing cars from 1989, and then started from the lowest grade of one-make races. In 1997 I became the first non-Japanese Asian to get to the highest position of driving Formula Nippon, and which is the closest to Formula 1 and Japan GT. So I was felicitated by then the Prime Minister of Japan, and also the NHK did my documentary, and I could meet this Japanese gentleman. His name was Matsumoto Kemme, and I never could meet him because I used to go and see him on the circuit, but he was very famous. We were not allowed to go to the pits, and after a while I gave up and I thought it's okay, someday I will meet him. And that day came when the National Television of Japan, NHK, did my documentary, and then when I told my story, how I came to Japan, what made me, what inspired me, they never told me anything. And the same circuit here in Fuji was the last shooting of my documentary, and just before it was done, the last 5 minutes, they brought him in, and then he said, we were very emotional, both of us, and actually although they didn't tell me, they told this guy that they're doing a documentary, and we were so happy, and he was so happy, I was so happy, and he couldn't believe that the person that he met 14 years ago in India is doing the top level racing in Japan. So he came to me and he said, Dilantha, can you tell me one thing? How did you do this? I said, I don't know, honestly I don't know. But I think it's that every second is a dream, it's a passion, and it's hungry, being how you want to be, what you want to become. I think when I think back, I also am wondering how did I do it, but I think it was like every day, every second, it was just happening, because I used to dream what should come next, when I'm racing, when I'm winning. So I used to work on that, no plans, but just working every second, every moment. It was the present, not the future, not the past, but I was working with the present, because I knew if you work on the present, the future will be good. I did everything. I won many championships, I did the world's best races, I've been world's best drivers, and we have been winning and winning. And then in 2010 I thought sometimes you can't do things the way you want when you're controlled by others. So I started my own team in 2010, Dilantha Racing, and that is the start of winning many international championships and international racing, because no one was there to control me. I did everything I wanted. We started with a low budget. It worked well because we were doing something with good spirit, good inspiration, good heart. Everything was good because that's all we want to do.
My name is Cristiano Inverni and I'm the Global Series Coordinator for Lamborghini Squadra Corse Motorsports Division. Dilantha is a good friend of Lamborghini. He's been racing with us since the very beginning. He's been with us since the very first series in Asia of our Super Trofeo series championship for the Asia, and he's been following us all the way through our racing adventure, and very, very strong support from him. We are happy to support him as well with our cars, with our products. We have drivers coming from all different countries. We have drivers coming from China, from Japan, from Indonesia, from Hong Kong, from Malaysia. But most important, we have one driver that is coming from Sri Lanka, Mr. Dilantha Malagamuwa. And the car standing behind me, it's his car, and actually is the winning car for the Asian series.
We started winning everything, so now we are with Lamborghini, they are helping us, we are winning championships, we are winning races, we have done everything, So what I want to say is, because most of our people, they are all in a comfort zone. If you want to go high in life, if you want to gain things in life, you cannot be in this comfort zone, it's a risk zone. So you have to cross that barrier. So people are stuck in this barrier, so everyone thinks, cannot do. But for me, it's like there's nothing that I cannot do. Everything is possible. So it's all that risk you take, because I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Things might go wrong, but I don't care, because I believe in myself. If you believe in yourself, there's nothing impossible in life, and you can become a champion. Throughout my career, one of the most things that was difficult was when I started racing in Japan. Everyone used to fool me, and they said, oh, you come from a country where there's elephant racing, so you should stop racing and you should go and race elephants. So I thought they were insulting me and my country. So that's why every day from the day I started racing, I had Sri Lanka flag on my car, because I'm proud to be a Sri Lankan, and I have the pride of being a Sri Lankan, and we have captured the world. We have beaten everyone. Sri Lanka is one of the best places, have pride, and you can become a champion.